Stop for a second and actually look around the room you're sitting in right now. Go ahead, I'll wait. Look at that refrigerator humming away in the kitchen, quietly keeping a few $100s of food from rotting. Look at the freezer packed with stuff you bought on sale. Look up at the lights you flicked on without a second thought. Feel that air conditioning keeping you comfortable while it's brutal outside. Notice your phone sitting there charging, your Wi-Fi router blinking in the corner, the little glowing screens that connect you to literally everything happening in the world. Now picture every single one of those things just dying. All at once. No warning, no countdown, no chance to prepare. And here's the part that should really get your attention. I'm not talking about a quick little outage where the power blinks off, you light a candle, you grumble for an hour, and then everything pops back on like nothing happened. I'm talking about the lights staying off for days, multiple days, and not in some mild spring weather where it barely matters. I'm talking about the dead center of July, when the thermometer outside already cracked 100 degrees by noon, and it's still climbing. I know that sounds dramatic. I know it sounds like the kind of doom and gloom thing people say to scare you into watching a video. But this isn't made up. This isn't some far-fetched scenario cooked up to grab your attention. This has already happened to real people, real families, in actual American towns over the past few summers. And the honest truth that nobody wants to say out loud is that it's happening more often, not less. Every year the pattern gets worse. Just last summer, entire regions got hit with rolling blackouts at the exact same time, right in the middle of a savage heat wave that absolutely flattened the power grid. The demand for electricity shot past anything the old, crumbling infrastructure could handle, and the system basically threw up its hands and quit. The summer before that one, a single substation caught fire, and that one failure dragged more than 100,000 homes into darkness for almost a full week. In July. Think about that. And before you tell yourself those are freak accidents, the rare once-in-a-lifetime disasters, let me stop you right there. They're not freak accidents. They're just the most recent names on a list that keeps getting longer. The grid is aging. The summers are getting hotter. The demand keeps climbing. Put those three things together, and you don't get a one-off problem, you get a trend. A trend that's pointed in exactly the wrong direction. Now here's where the American Red Cross comes in, because these folks have been doing this work for over a century. They've stood in the wreckage of hurricanes, floods, fires, and blackouts. They've sat with families who lost everything and learned, often the hard way, exactly what those people desperately needed and didn't have when the worst arrived. And the message they're sending out as we roll into this summer is one that almost everybody is flat out ignoring. Summer blackouts aren't a maybe. They're not a could happen someday. They are coming, full stop. And the cruelest part of the whole thing is the timing of your window to get ready. Because the second the power cuts out and that indoor temperature starts climbing degree by degree, your chance to prepare is already gone. You don't get to start prepping after the disaster shows up. It doesn't work like that. So let me explain what actually makes a summer blackout so much nastier than every other kind of outage. Because this is the thing most people completely fail to grasp. Heat is a silent killer, and it moves fast. Think about a winter power outage for a second. When the heat goes out in December, you've actually got some breathing room. You pile on sweaters, you grab every blanket in the house, you huddle your family together in one room, and a house that's slowly cooling down will still keep you alive for days. The cold is dangerous, sure, but it's a slow danger. It gives you time to react. Summer flips that entire equation upside down. When the act dies and your house starts cooking, the indoor temperature doesn't take days to become deadly. It takes hours. The thermostat climbs past 90, then 95, then 100, and your house transforms into an oven that you happen to be living inside. Now you're not looking at an inconvenience anymore. You're looking at a genuine medical emergency, and it arrived a whole lot faster than you expected. This is the part nobody likes to talk about. Older folks die from heat stroke in these situations. Babies overheat because their little bodies can't regulate temperature the way ours can. People managing chronic health conditions go from stable to critical in a frighteningly short window. And it all gets worse when you can't sleep, because a hot, stuffy, miserable house wrecks your rest, and that exhaustion stacks right on top of the dehydration and the heat until your body simply can't keep up. And here's a piece of this that really doesn't get enough attention. It's not just the people. A prolonged summer blackout puts your pets in serious danger too. Dogs and cats can't sweat the way we do. They cool themselves through panting and through their paw pads. And in a house that's climbing past 100 degrees, they're in just as much trouble as the humans. Sometimes more. If you've got animals, they're part of this plan whether you've thought about it that way or not. They need extra water, they need access to the cool room, and they need you watching them for signs of overheating. Because they can't tell you when they're in distress until it's nearly too late. There's also a financial gut punch hiding inside every long blackout that people forget about until it hits them. The food in your refrigerator and freezer, all of it, starts going bad within hours. A packed freezer might buy you a day or two if you keep the door shut. But eventually, you're looking at hundreds of dollars of spoiled food hitting the trash. That's a real cost on top of everything else. And it's exactly why your cooler strategy and your no-cook food supply matter so much. The families who plan ahead don't just stay safer, they lose a lot less money when the dust settles. Preparation pays for itself. So today I'm walking you through the full list of items the Red Cross wants sitting in every single home before the next big summer blackout rolls in. And I've thrown in some extras of my own too, because frankly the official list misses a few things that matter just as much. Some of this stuff costs almost nothing. Some of it you've probably already got lying around the house and just never thought of it this way. And a handful of these are going to genuinely catch you off guard. But here's my promise. Every single item on this list could be the thing that separates riding out a blackout in relative safety from finding yourself in real serious trouble when that temperature won't stop climbing and help is nowhere in sight. So stick with me all the way to the end, because the bonus items I've saved for last are the ones almost nobody thinks about, and they might just be the most important ones of the whole bunch. One quick thing before we dive in, and I really want you to hear this. Do not try to go out and buy all of this in a single weekend panic. That's not the point. Look at this whole thing as a process you build over time, piece by piece. Every single item you bring into your home is a real, measurable improvement to how safe your family will be when things go sideways. Grab what you can afford right now, and then keep going steadily. A little bit of preparation done consistently over a few months absolutely destroys a frantic last-minute shopping spree. Slow and steady wins this one every time. All right, let's get into it. Number 1. Water, and way more than you think. Everything begins right here. There is no item more important than this one, so if you only take away one thing from this entire video, make it this. The Red Cross guideline you've probably heard 1,000 times is 1 gallon of water per person per day. And that's a fine starting number, except for one massive problem. That figure assumes you're sitting in a nice, comfortable, climate-controlled environment. It assumes you're not drenched in sweat around the clock. And during a summer blackout with no air conditioning anywhere in sight, that assumption falls apart completely. When you're sweating buckets 24 hours a day, 1 gallon doesn't cut it. Not even close. You need to plan for something more like 2 gallons per person per day, and treat that as your bare minimum. So let's do the math, because this is where it gets real. A family of 4 trying to ride out a 5-day outage needs somewhere between 40 and 50 gallons of water, just to cover drinking and the absolute bare bones of staying clean. That's a lot of water, and it doesn't appear out of thin air. So start stockpiling now. Not the day a heat wave shows up on the forecast. Because I promise you, the moment a serious heat event gets announced, every store within a 10-mile radius will be picked clean within hours. The water aisle will look like a ghost town. The people who waited will be standing in front of empty shelves, and the people who prepared months ahead will be sitting at home with full jugs and zero stress. Be the second kind of person. Store it in food-grade containers. Keep it somewhere cool and out of direct sunlight. And check on it occasionally to make sure nothing's leaking or going funky. If you've got the space, those large stackable water bricks or even a couple of big barrels are worth looking into. And honestly, even if you can only manage a few cases of bottled water to start, that's still better than nothing. Start somewhere. And let me give you a trick that costs you absolutely nothing. Right now today, you can start filling up clean containers and freezing them, or just storing them in a closet. Those big empty juice jugs, soda bottles, anything food grade, rinse them out and fill them up. It's free water storage you're throwing away every week without realizing it. You don't have to spend a dime to start building your supply. You just have to stop tossing perfectly good containers in the recycling. One more thing on water, because people get this wrong all the time. Don't forget about your water heater. That tank sitting in your basement or closet is holding 40 to 60 gallons of clean, drinkable water at any given moment. In a genuine emergency, you can drain that tank, and it becomes a massive backup supply you didn't even know you had. Learn how to access the drain valve before you ever need to, because figuring it out in a crisis by flashlight is a nightmare. And the same goes for the water sitting in your toilet tanks. The upper tank, not the bowl, that's clean water too in a pinch. Knowing where your hidden water is hiding could buy your family an extra day or two. And in a heat emergency, a day or two is everything. Number 2, electrolytes. The one everybody forgets here is the summer-specific item that almost every prepper list on the planet leaves out. And it drives me a little crazy because it's so important. Water keeps you alive, yes, but electrolytes keep you working. Let me explain what's actually happening inside your body during a heat event. When you sweat hard and you sweat constantly, which you absolutely will when there's no AC, you're not just losing water. You're flushing out sodium, potassium, and magnesium right along with it. These are the minerals your body runs on. And here's the trap a lot of well-meaning people fall straight into. They drink tons and tons of plain water to stay hydrated, thinking they're doing everything right, but they never replace those lost minerals. That mistake leads to a condition called hyponatremia, which is basically water intoxication. Your blood sodium gets diluted to dangerous levels, and the symptoms are no joke. You're talking nausea, pounding headaches, confusion, and in the bad cases, actual seizures. The really scary thing is that it happens to people who genuinely thought they were being responsible by chugging water all day. They did one thing right and one thing terribly wrong, and the combination got them. The fix is almost embarrassingly easy. Electrolyte packets weigh nothing, last basically forever on a shelf, take up almost zero space, and cost next to nothing per serving. A box of 30 packets runs around $20, and that's enough to keep a family of 4 going through several days of heavy sweating. Grab a couple boxes. Toss in some salty snacks too while you're at it, because those help. This is one of the cheapest, lightest, most overlooked items you can add to your kit, and it might keep someone in your family out of a hospital bed. And here's a little money-saving angle for you. You don't have to buy the fancy name-brand electrolyte powders if you don't want to. A basic mixture of salt, a little sugar, and water in the right proportions is the same oral rehydration solution that aid workers use all over the world to save lives. Learn the simple recipe, keep the ingredients on hand, and you've got an unlimited supply for pennies. That said, the pre-made packets are convenient and idiot-proof when you're stressed and not thinking straight, so I'd keep a stash of those too. Belt and suspenders. The point is, replacing your minerals during a heat event isn't optional. It's survival, so make sure you've got a way to do it, covered 3 different ways. Pay special attention to this if you've got anyone in your house who's especially vulnerable. The very young, the very old, anyone with a heart condition or on certain medications. Those folks lose their electrolyte balance faster and feel the effects harder. For them, staying on top of electrolytes isn't just about feeling functional. It can genuinely be the line between staying stable and ending up in real medical trouble. Plan your supply around your most vulnerable family member, not your healthiest. Number 3, a battery-powered fan. Now, we hit the item that really shows you how different a summer blackout is from every other emergency. In winter, you're fighting the cold. In summer, you're fighting the heat, and that changes everything about how you survive. Let's be honest about what a fan does and doesn't do. A fan won't actually lower the temperature of the air in your room. That's not how it works. What it does is speed up the evaporation of sweat off your skin, which helps your body's natural cooling system run more efficiently. In a house that's already sitting at 95 degrees, a fan isn't going to feel like central air. I won't lie to you about that. But it will genuinely take the edge off your body's heat stress. And medically speaking, that difference is huge. Your body handles long stretches of heat dramatically better when there's air moving across your skin than when the air is just sitting there, dead and still. This matters most at night, because a hot, motionless bedroom makes sleep almost impossible. And once you stop sleeping, every other effect of the heat hits you twice as hard. Sleep deprivation is a force multiplier for everything bad about a heat wave. Look for fans that can run off a few different power sources, especially USB, so you can plug them into a battery bank when the wall outlets are dead. Spend somewhere in the $30 to $50 range on a decent one. And here's my real advice. Buy more than one. Trust me, the family member who gets to sleep next to the only fan in the house is going to be in a whole lot better shape than everyone sweating it out in the next room. Don't make your family fight over a single fan. Get a few. And let me give you a cooling trick that turns a basic fan into something much more powerful. Take one of those frozen water jugs we talked about earlier, or even a bowl of ice, and set it right in front of the fan. As the air blows across the ice, it picks up that cold and pushes genuinely cooler air toward you. It's a poor man's air conditioner, and while it won't transform a sweltering room into an icebox, it makes a real, noticeable difference. Especially in the small, cool room where you're concentrating your family. Combine that with a damp towel over your skin and the fan blowing across you, and you've stacked 3 cooling mechanisms together that work far better than any one of them alone. Think about fan placement too, because it matters more than people realize. At night, when the outside air finally drops below your indoor temperature, you want a fan in a window pulling that cooler air in, and ideally another window on the opposite side of the house, with a fan pushing the hot air out. That creates a cross breeze that flushes the trapped heat out of your home while the outside air is cooperating. Timing your fans to the cycle of the day, sealing the house up tight during the blazing afternoon, and opening it up to breathe at night is a free strategy that dramatically changes how survivable your home stays. Number 4. Food that needs zero cooking. This one comes with a twist that most emergency food advice gets completely wrong for summer. The usual emergency food playbook is full of canned soups, pasta, rice, all that stuff that needs to be heated up before you can eat it. And in winter, fine, that's great. A hot meal is comforting and warming. But in a summer blackout, adding any heat to your home is the absolute last thing you want to do. Fire up a camp stove indoors, and you're not just making the house hotter, you're pumping out carbon monoxide in an enclosed space, which can quietly kill you. And trying to cook outside when it's 100+ degrees out there is its own special kind of miserable and dangerous. So build your food stash around things you can eat cold or straight at room temperature. No heat required, period. I'm talking peanut butter, crackers, granola bars, canned fruit packed in juice, nuts, protein bars, beef jerky, those shelf-stable hummus cups. Real calories, real nutrition, and not one extra degree of heat added to a house that's already trying to roast you. Stock up on the stuff your family will actually eat, check the expiration dates a couple times a year, and rotate it into your regular meals before it expires, so nothing goes to waste. Now think hard about calorie density and how the heat affects appetite, because this catches people off guard. When it's brutally hot, nobody feels like eating. Your appetite tanks, but your body still desperately needs fuel, maybe even more than usual because it's working overtime to keep you cool. So lean toward foods that pack a lot of calories into small, easy-to-stomach portions. Nuts, nut butters, and trail mix are perfect for this. Things that go down easy even when you're hot and miserable and not hungry. Heavy, dense, hot-feeling foods will get ignored, and then people get weak and shaky at exactly the wrong time. Match your food to the reality of how bodies behave in extreme heat. And don't forget about the comfort factor of food. In a grim, sweaty, exhausting situation, a familiar treat does real psychological work. Throw some of your family's favorite snacks into the stockpile. The cookies, the candy, whatever they love. Yes, it's junk, but morale is a survival resource, just like water. And a small comfort in a bad moment keeps people calm and cooperative. Don't build a stockpile so Spartan and joyless that your family dreads eating from it. A little comfort goes a long way when everything else is falling apart. One more practical note. Pay attention to sodium in your food choices during a heat event, because here it actually works in your favor. Those salty crackers, the jerky, the nuts, they help replace the sodium you're sweating out, which ties right back into the electrolyte conversation. So the foods that store well and need no cooking happen to also help with mineral replacement. It all connects. Build your food supply with the whole heat picture in mind, not just calories on a shelf. Number 5. A real cooler with an ice plan. For any household with a baby, an elderly family member, or anybody who relies on temperature-sensitive medications like insulin, a good cooler stops being a luxury and becomes straight-up medical equipment. I cannot stress this enough. Here's the thing about coolers, though. They are not all created equal, and the difference is enormous. Those cheap foam ones you grab at the gas station? They'll lose all their ice within 18 to 24 hours in a hot environment. Gone in a day. But a quality rotomolded cooler, the heavy-duty kind, will hold ice for 5 to 7 full days under those exact same brutal conditions. That's not marketing fluff. That's a documented, tested performance gap, and it translates directly into how long your family's medicine stays safe. And here's the good news. You don't have to drop $300 to get this. There are solid mid-range coolers in the $80 to $120 range that completely blow the cheap foam ones out of the water. You don't need the fanciest brand, you just need one that actually works. Now here's a pro move. Before a forecasted outage, freeze water in big gallon jugs. Block ice lasts way longer than cubed ice because it has less surface area to melt from. And those frozen jugs pull double duty, because as the ice slowly melts, you've now got extra cold drinking water sitting right there. 2 problems solved with 1 frozen container. Smart, cheap, and it works. Let me add a layer to your cooler strategy that most people never think about. The 2-cooler system. Have 1 cooler that's your grab, and go for the items you need to access frequently. Drinks, snacks, the stuff you're opening constantly. And have a 2nd cooler that you almost never open, reserved strictly for the critical, temperature-sensitive items like insulin or other medications. Every single time you crack a cooler open, you let cold escape and warm air rush in, which burns through your ice. By keeping your medical cooler sealed and untouched, except when absolutely necessary, you stretch its cold holding time dramatically. Your medicine stays safe far longer, because it's not getting disturbed every time someone wants a cold drink. A few more cooler tricks worth knowing. Keep your cooler in the coolest, shadiest, most insulated spot in the house, never anywhere the sun can touch it. Wrap it in a blanket or a sleeping bag for extra insulation, which sounds backward but works. The insulation keeps the cold in, just like it keeps you warm. Pre-chill the cooler before you load it, because dumping ice into a hot cooler wastes a chunk of your ice just cooling the cooler itself down. And keep it as full as possible, because a packed cooler holds cold far better than a half-empty one, with lots of warm airspace inside. Fill any gaps with extra ice or even crumpled newspaper. These little adjustments can add days to how long your ice lasts, and when someone's medication depends on it, days matter enormously. Number 6. A battery-powered emergency radio. This might be the most underrated item on this entire list, and I need you to take it seriously. Almost everybody assumes they'll just use their phone to stay informed. And that assumption is exactly how people end up making life or death decisions in total darkness with zero reliable information. Here's what actually happens. Within the first few hours of a big widespread outage, the cell towers either fail outright or get completely overwhelmed. Picture hundreds of thousands of people all grabbing their phones at the same moment, all trying to call family, all trying to stream the news, all hammering the network at once. The whole thing buckles, the internet goes dark, and suddenly you're trying to figure out whether to stay or evacuate, where the nearest cooling center is, when the power might come back, and you've got nothing. No signal, no news, no information at all. This is where an emergency radio saves you. Radio broadcasts run on completely separate infrastructure that's built specifically to keep working when everything else collapses. Real-time updates on when power's coming back, where the cooling centers are, what heat advisories are in effect, whether there's an evacuation order. All of it comes through clear as day on the NOAA weather band frequencies. While everyone else is staring at a dead phone, you'll actually know what's going on. A lot of these emergency radios are seriously clever too. Many charge by hand crank, solar panel, or USB, and a bunch of them even have a port to trickle charge your phone in a pinch. $30 to $40 gets you a genuinely good one. There's no excuse not to have this. When you're shopping for one, look specifically for a model that covers the NOAA weather band and ideally has a built-in alert feature that automatically sounds off when the National Weather Service issues a warning for your area. That alert function is huge because it means the radio is essentially standing guard for you, ready to wake you up if an evacuation order or a severe weather warning comes through in the middle of the night. A radio that can warn you while you sleep is worth far more than one you have to remember to check. And here's something to test before you ever need it. Buy the radio, charge it up, and actually use it. Tune in the local stations. Find the NOAA frequency for your region. Crank the hand crank in time, how long a minute of cranking gives you in playback. Make sure you understand how every function works while you're calm and the lights are on. not while you're panicking in the dark. A piece of gear you've never operated is a liability, not an asset. Familiarity is half of what makes preparation actually work. The same goes for showing other adults in your household how to use it, because you might not be the one who has to grab it. We're already 6 items deep and just getting started, so real quick, if this is helping you out, do me a favor and smash that like button. Drop a comment letting me know where you're watching from, and hit subscribe so you don't miss the rest. It genuinely helps the channel out a ton. Alright, back to it. Number 7. Layered lighting. Not just one flashlight. When the sun goes down and your power's out, you need light. But here's the mistake everybody makes. They grab a single flashlight and call it a day. That's not enough. You want 3 distinct lighting setups, each doing a different job. First, a standard flashlight. Great for pointing at one specific thing, checking a noise, looking under a cabinet, directed tasks. That's your basic. Second, and this is the one people skip, a headlamp. A headlamp is what you reach for when you need both hands free, which, trust me, happens constantly during any drawn-out emergency. You're tending to someone who's overheated, you're trying to prepare food in the dark, you're wrangling scared kids, and every single one of those jobs goes infinitely smoother when your light just follows wherever your eyes look. If you own every other thing on this list, but you don't have a headlamp, go buy one today. I mean it. It's that useful and that overlooked. Third, a lantern. An omnidirectional lantern lights up an entire room evenly, completely hands-free, so your family can sit together in a space that's actually illuminated instead of squinting at one harsh flashlight beam. It makes the whole situation feel less grim, which matters more than you'd think when morale is sinking. And please, leave the candles in the drawer for winter. Open flames add heat to a house that's already dangerously hot, and they're a serious fire risk when everyone's exhausted, stressed, and not thinking clearly. The last thing you need on top of a blackout is a house fire. Stick with battery and rechargeable light. Number 8. Extra batteries. Organized and ready. Here's a brutal truth about emergency prep. The most common way people's setups fail isn't bad equipment. It's dead batteries, or the wrong sizes, or a drawer full of batteries where the good ones got mixed in with the dead ones, and now nobody can tell which is which. You did everything right, you bought all the gear, and then the whole thing falls apart because you couldn't power any of it. So get ahead of this. Sit down and write out every single battery size that each of your devices needs. Your flashlight, your headlamp, your radio, your fan, all of it. Then go buy those specific sizes in real quantities, not just a token pack of 4. Store them all in a clearly labeled, sealed container, and keep it up on a shelf where it stays cool and dry. And here's the maintenance habit that actually keeps this working. Check and rotate your batteries every 6 months. Use the time changes, when the clocks spring forward and fall back, as your built-in reminder. Twice a year, you check the kit, you swap out anything questionable, you confirm everything still has juice. It takes 10 minutes, and it means that when the lights go out, every single device you own actually turns on. Don't let dead batteries be the thing that undoes all your hard work. Number 9. A first aid kit with heat-specific extras. You probably already own a basic first aid kit. And that's good. It handles your cuts, your scrapes, your minor burns, your sprained ankles. But a summer blackout throws a whole category of medical emergency at you that a standard kit simply isn't built for. So you need to beef it up. First, add instant cold packs, the squeeze-to-activate kind that get cold on their own with no freezer needed. When someone starts showing signs of heat exhaustion, you press these onto the neck, the armpits, and the groin, because those are the spots where big blood vessels run close to the surface, and cooling those areas brings the whole body temperature down fastest. Second, throw in a digital thermometer. This sounds minor, but it's critical, because there's a world of difference between someone sitting at 99 degrees and someone hitting 104. One is uncomfortable. The other is a life-threatening emergency, and you genuinely cannot tell the difference by touch alone when you're stressed and your own judgment is fried. Third, and this is the one nobody does, write out and include the warning signs of heat exhaustion versus heat stroke. Because when you're sleep-deprived and panicking, your brain doesn't work right, and having it on paper saves lives. Let me give it to you straight. Heat exhaustion looks like heavy sweating, weakness, pale clammy skin, and a fast but weak pulse. That's bad but manageable if you cool the person down. Heat stroke is the deadly one, and it looks different. Hot, red, dry skin, a fast and strong pulse, and possibly the person passing out. Heat stroke is a call 911 immediately situation. Knowing the difference and being able to read it off a card when your brain is mush could be what saves someone's life. Let me add a few more heat-specific items to round out that kit. Throw in some electrolyte tablets or rehydration salts right alongside your first aid gear, because treating early heat exhaustion is as much about getting fluids and minerals back into someone as it is about cooling them. Add aloe vera gel for sunburns, which become a real risk when people are spending more time outdoors or in the sun than usual. Include any personal medications that family members might need fast, like rescue inhalers or epinephrine auto-injectors, and make sure they're not expired and that everyone knows where they are. And if anyone in your household has a specific medical condition, build the kit around their needs specifically, because a generic kit is fine for scrapes, but useless for the emergency that's actually likely to hit your particular family. And here's the piece that ties it all together. Take a basic first aid and CPR course if you haven't. The fanciest medical kit in the world is just a box of supplies if nobody knows how to use it. Knowing how to recognize heat stroke, how to cool someone properly, how to respond if someone collapses. That knowledge lives in your head and works even when your gear fails. The Red Cross itself offers these courses, often cheaply or free. And a few hours of training makes you exponentially more capable in exactly the kind of crisis we're talking about. Gear plus knowledge beats gear alone, every single time. Number 10, a 7-day medication supply. If anybody in your household takes prescription medication, this one is absolutely non-negotiable. There's no wiggle room here. Think about what happens to the pharmacy during a major regional blackout. It loses power just like everyone else. The roads to get there clog up with traffic and closures. That pharmacy that's normally a quick 10-minute drive away suddenly becomes a 2-hour nightmare, assuming it's even open at all, which it might not be. And if you're out of a medication that someone in your family genuinely needs to function, you've now got a crisis stacked on top of a crisis. The fix could not be simpler. It's literally one phone call. Just refill your prescriptions about a week earlier than you normally would, every single month, consistently. Do that for a few months and you'll naturally build up a week-long buffer without ever having to do anything dramatic. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist about it. They deal with this all the time. And beyond the prescription stuff, stock some over-the-counter basics too. Ibuprofen and acetaminophen for managing fevers and pain. Antihistamines for allergic reactions. Anti-diarrheal medication, because heat and stress will wreck your digestive system and dehydrate you even faster. And honestly, even some melatonin, because trying to sleep in a stifling hothouse with your whole routine thrown out the window is genuinely difficult. And we already covered how badly sleep deprivation makes everything else worse. A little melatonin might be the thing that gets someone a few hours of real rest. That's 10 items down, the official halfway-ish point. And we've still got a bunch of crucial stuff, plus those bonus items coming. If you're finding this useful, take 2 seconds to hit that like button and subscribe. It really does help me keep making these. Now let's keep rolling, because the next batch is just as important. Number 11. Sanitation supplies. Here's the category absolutely everybody skips. And I get why. Nobody gets excited about toilet paper and garbage bags. It doesn't make for impressive prepping photos. It's not cool gear you show off. But let me tell you, 3 days into a blackout with no running water and several people crammed into the same space, sanitation rockets to the top of the list as the single most urgent problem in the entire house. And it gets worse by the hour, not the day. And summer makes the whole thing dramatically nastier than any other season. For a few reasons that aren't pleasant, but you need to hear. Heat speeds up bacterial growth in human waste, so things get foul fast. Everyone's drenched in sweat constantly, so people and surfaces get filthy way quicker than normal. And because it's hot, you've got windows open for airflow, which means insects come pouring into any space where hygiene has already broken down. It's a perfect storm of grossness and disease risk. And it compounds every single hour you're without water. So stock up, and stock up more than you think is reasonable. Extra toilet paper, way more than seems necessary. Wet wipes for cleaning your whole body when a shower simply isn't an option. Antibacterial hand soap. Multiple bottles of hand sanitizer, not just one. heavy-duty garbage bags in a few different sizes for waste containment, and bleach, which you can dilute with water to make a powerful surface disinfectant that keeps the worst bacteria in check. And here's one that creates a genuine crisis when it runs out at the wrong moment. Feminine hygiene products, if that applies to anyone in your household. This is exactly the kind of thing nobody thinks to stockpile until the moment it's desperately needed and there's none to be found. Don't let that be your household. The good news, almost all of this stuff is cheap, it stores for years without going bad, and it takes up barely any room. $30 at a discount store covers most of it. Just do it. Number 12. Copies of important documents. This is one most people never connect to a blackout, but here's the link. Summer outages have a nasty way of escalating into full evacuation scenarios with almost no warning. Wildfires ignite during heat waves all the time. A house that's become medically unsafe because the indoor temperature won't stop climbing might need to be abandoned on short notice. And when that moment comes, you will not have time to dig through filing cabinets looking for paperwork. So get ahead of it now, while everything's calm. Print physical copies of your birth certificates, your insurance policies, and make sure those include the direct claims phone numbers, your medical records, including a full list of prescriptions, passports, financial account information. Seal all of it in a waterproof pouch so a little rain or a spilled water bottle doesn't destroy everything. And save digital copies onto a USB drive that lives in the same kit so you've got backups of your backups. Add a written medication list too, with dosages and the contact info for the prescribing doctors. Picture this. Someone in your family is suffering from heat-related illness. They're disoriented and can't communicate clearly, and a paramedic shows up. That one sheet of paper instantly hands your entire medical history to the person trying to save them. No fumbling, no guessing, no dangerous gaps. That single document could change an outcome. Think about including a few photos in there too. Recent pictures of each family member, especially your kids. It sounds grim, but in the chaos of an evacuation or a large-scale emergency, families do get separated, and a current photo is the single most useful thing for reuniting people. Add photos of your pets for the same reason. And while you're at it, snap pictures of your home, your belongings, your vehicles, the serial numbers on major appliances, all of it, and store those digitally. If a wildfire or other disaster damages your property, that visual record makes the insurance claim process vastly smoother, at a time when you'll have zero patience for paperwork hassles. One more layer here that people overlook. Keep some emergency information physically on each family member, not just in the central kit. A small card in a wallet, or for kids, in a backpack, listing their name, your contact info, any allergies, and critical medical conditions. If someone gets separated or is found incapacitated, that card speaks for them. For young children who can't reliably recite a phone number, this isn't optional, it's essential. The whole philosophy here is redundancy. Information stored in one place fails the moment you can't reach that place. Information stored in several places, on paper, digitally, and on the person, survives almost any scenario. Number 13. Cash in small bills. This recommendation genuinely surprises people every time, because we've all gotten so used to paying for everything with a tap of a card or a phone. Card, app, done. We barely touch physical money anymore. But a summer blackout exposes the giant weakness in that whole system almost instantly. Here's what goes wrong. Card readers stop working without power. ATMs go completely offline. Every internet-based payment system fails the moment the network dies. But here's the thing. Stores with backup generators often stay open, and within the first few hours they flip over to cash only. So now there's a store with the supplies you need, the doors are open, and if you don't have physical cash in your pocket, you can't buy a single thing. No fuel, no food, no ice, no batteries, nothing. All because your money only exists as numbers on a screen that's currently dead. So keep a stash of cash set aside strictly for emergencies, somewhere between $500 and $1,000. And here's the key part. Keep it in small bills. 5s, 10s, and 20s are the working currency of a disaster. A $100 bill sounds great until you're trying to buy $30 of supplies from a frazzled store owner who has no way to make change and just keeps the difference, because what else is he going to do? Small bills give you flexibility, and they get you exactly what you need without overpaying. tuck it somewhere safe, and forget about it until you need it. And resist the temptation to borrow from this stash for non-emergencies, because that's exactly how emergency cash quietly disappears. The whole point is that it's there, untouched, ready, on the worst day of your year. Treat it as if it doesn't exist until a real crisis hits. Some people keep it in a sealed envelope taped somewhere out of sight, or in a small fireproof and waterproof container along with their documents, which is honestly a smart combination since both are things you'd grab in an evacuation. However you do it, the discipline of leaving it alone is what makes it actually work when the moment comes. Quick gut check before we move on, because we've covered a lot. We just hit a big stack of items. So if this has earned a like from you, go ahead and tap it, hit subscribe, and tell me in the comments whether you keep emergency cash on hand or whether this is the nudge to finally start. I love hearing how you all handle this stuff. Okay, let's keep going. Number 14. A complete phone charging setup. Your phone is your lifeline, your communication hub, your navigation system, and your emergency alert receiver all rolled into one. Keeping it alive through an extended outage is a top priority, and it takes the right gear to pull off. Start with a quality power bank, ideally something in the 20,000 milliamp hour range. A bank that size can fully recharge most smartphones 4 or 5 times over, which buys you days of communication. But here's the catch that trips people up. You have to keep that power bank charged as a standing habit, not just when you see a storm in the forecast. Outages don't always announce themselves. Sometimes the lights just go out. A dead power bank is exactly as useless as no power bank at all. So charge it up and keep it topped off as part of your routine. And here's a resource sitting in your driveway that you're almost certainly underusing. Your car. Your vehicle is a serious charging station and a cooling refuge rolled into one. So make this a summer rule. Never let your gas tank drop below half. A half tank of fuel means you've got a mobile place to charge every device you own, and a place to escape into cool air for an hour at a time when the house becomes unbearable. A car with gas is a powerful asset during a blackout. A car running on fumes becomes useless within the first day. Keep it fueled. Number 15. A printed emergency contact list. Let me ask you something, and be honest. If your phone died right now, this second, how many important phone numbers could you actually recite from memory? For most people, the answer is 1, maybe 2. And your kids? They probably can't recall a single one. We've outsourced our entire memory to our phones, and that works great right up until the phone is a dead brick in your hand. So print out a contact sheet. Put your immediate family on it. Put close friends who live outside the affected area, your doctor, your pharmacy, your insurance agent. And here's a pro tip straight out of emergency management experience. Include one out-of-state contact. Here's why that matters. During a regional disaster, long-distance calls frequently connect when local calls won't, because they route through completely different infrastructure. So an out-of-state relative can become the central hub that everyone in your family checks in with, even when you can't reach each other directly. Laminate that list so it survives sweat, spills, and rough handling. Keep one copy in your emergency kit and stash another in your glove compartment. It costs almost nothing, and it could be the thing that reconnects your family when everything else has gone dark. Number 16. A physical map of your area. GPS is fantastic, right up until it isn't. And during a major regional blackout, GPS needs 2 things you might not have: a charged phone and a working cell network. And both of those can vanish at the exact same moment. When that happens, the little blue dot you've relied on your whole adult life just disappears. So get an old-school physical map. A road atlas costs about $5 at any gas station, and it gives you total navigational independence. No signal needed. No battery needed. It just works. Forever. And during a real emergency, this matters. This matters enormously, because roads close without warning. Traffic patterns scramble, and evacuation routes jam up solid. Without GPS, not knowing where you're going stops being a minor annoyance and becomes a genuine safety crisis, especially when you're driving in the dark through extreme heat with a stressed-out family in the car. So get a local street-level map and a broader regional one that covers anywhere you might realistically need to drive. Mark your primary evacuation route on it, then mark 2 backup routes in case the main one is blocked. Mark the cooling centers in your area too, because during a heat emergency, those locations become every bit as important as knowing where the hospitals are. And here's the part people skip. Actually sit down and go over these routes with every adult in your household before you ever need them. Don't try to learn navigation for the first time while you're panicking. Know it cold ahead of time. We're 16 items in with the best stuff still coming, including those bonus items I keep teasing. If you've gotten value out of this, please hit like, leave a comment with the one item you didn't have yet, and subscribe for more. It seriously helps. Okay, let's bring it home. Number 17. A full cooling plan with supply stage. This is the item that makes a summer blackout kit fundamentally different from any other kind of emergency prep. And it's the one almost everybody overlooks, because it requires actual thinking ahead instead of just buying stuff and tossing it in a box. A plan takes effort, but it ties everything else together. Your cooling plan needs to cover 3 distinct scenarios, because how you handle hour 2 is completely different from how you handle day 4. Scenario 1. Under 12 hours. For a short outage, you stay put. You ride it out at home using fans, cold water, and wet towels draped over your skin. Manageable. Scenario 2. 1 to 3 days. Now you combine your home strategies with serious ice management to protect food and medicine, and you might spend a few hours sitting in an air-conditioned vehicle to give your body a break from the heat. This is where things get more demanding. Scenario 3. Beyond 3 days. At this point, you execute a pre-identified evacuation. You go to a family member's home outside the affected zone, or a hotel or a public cooling center, and you've already got the fuel, the cash, and the supplies staged and ready to get you there. No scrambling, because you planned for this exact moment. Now stage the actual cooling supplies ahead of time. Spray bottles for misting your skin so evaporation can cool you down. Cooling towels you can soak and wrap around your neck. Then identify the lowest, most insulated room in your house, because that's your fortress. Close the blinds on every sun-facing window to block the heat pouring in. And remember, ground floors run significantly cooler than upper floors during a heat event since heat rises. So concentrate your family and your resources down low. Knowing all of this before disaster strikes and having the supplies ready to actually do it is the entire difference between managing a hard situation and being completely overwhelmed by it. Let me give you a few more cooling tactics that cost nothing and genuinely work. Your body cools itself fastest through the spots where blood runs close to the surface, so target those. Run cool water over your wrists, drape a damp cloth across the back of your neck, soak your feet in a basin of cool water. These pulse points act like radiators, and cooling them brings your whole core temperature down more efficiently than just fanning yourself everywhere. Teach your family these spots, because in a real heat emergency, knowing where to apply the cold is as important as having the cold. Dress for it too. This sounds obvious, but people forget under stress. Loose, light-colored, breathable clothing, or honestly as little clothing as the situation allows. Wet a t-shirt and wear it, and as it dries it pulls heat right off your body, basically turning you into your own evaporative cooler. And slow way down. Every bit of physical exertion generates internal heat and burns through your water and electrolytes faster. During the blazing hours of the afternoon, the smart move is to do as close to nothing as possible. Lie still in the cool room, conserve energy, and save any necessary activity moving supplies. Cooking outside if you must, anything physical, for the cooler early morning or late evening hours. Working with the rhythm of the heat instead of fighting it is a survival skill in itself. And have a hard rule for when home is no longer safe. Decide, in advance and in writing, the indoor temperature or the warning signs that mean it's time to stop toughing it out and leave for a cooling center or somewhere with power. The deadliest mistake people make is stubbornly staying in a home that's become an oven, telling themselves they can handle it until someone collapses. Pride and inertia kill people in heat waves. Know your line ahead of time, and when you hit it, go, no debate, no second guessing. A staged plan with a clear trigger point takes that dangerous judgment call out of your exhausted, overheated brain and hands it to the calm, clear-thinking version of you that made the plan weeks earlier. A few more of the Red Cross list doesn't spell out now before I get to the official bonus items. I want to throw in a handful of my own additions, because in my experience, these belong in any serious summer blackout kit, and they don't always make the standard lists. First, a manual can opener. I know it sounds almost too obvious to mention, But you'd be amazed how many people stock up on cans of food and then realize every can opener they own is electric, or they only have the one and they can't find it. A cheap manual can opener, or even two, costs a couple dollars and turns your entire canned food supply from useless metal cylinders into actual meals. Throw a couple in the kit and never think about it again. Second, sun protection. This gets weirdly forgotten in heatwave prep even though it's directly relevant. If you end up spending time outside, managing supplies, sitting in the car, or evacuating, you need sunscreen, wide-brimmed hats, and sunglasses. A bad sunburn on top of dehydration and heat stress is a genuinely dangerous combination that makes everything worse. Sun protection is cheap, and it keeps a bad situation from compounding. Third, a basic toolkit and some duct tape. During an extended emergency, things break, and you may need to make quick repairs, secure a window, rig up a tarp for shade, or improvise a solution to a problem you didn't see coming. A small kit with a multi-tool, a wrench, some pliers, work gloves, and a roll or two of duct tape gives you the ability to actually fix and adapt instead of just sitting helplessly. Duct tape alone solves an astonishing number of disaster problems. Fourth, entertainment and comfort items, especially if you've got kids. This sounds frivolous next to water and medication, but hear me out. A multi-day blackout in oppressive heat is mentally brutal, and for children, it's frightening and boring in equal measure. A deck of cards, some board games, a few books, coloring supplies, anything that passes the time without needing power, does real work keeping morale up and keeping people calm. And calm people make better decisions. Don't underestimate the value of keeping your family's spirits from collapsing. Fifth, an extra set of car keys and house keys in your kit. In the chaos of an emergency, things get lost. Having backup keys staged in your emergency supplies means a misplaced keychain doesn't strand you or lock you out at the worst possible moment. It's a tiny, cheap bit of redundancy that can save you an enormous headache. That's a solid stack of extras, and every one of them has earned its place. Quick reminder, if this video's been helpful, drop a like, hit subscribe, and let me know in the comments which of these you already had. Now the bonus items I promised, the ones almost nobody thinks about. Bonus item 1, portable solar panels. Here's the beautiful irony of a summer blackout. The exact same blistering sunlight that's driving the heat wave and making your life miserable is also a completely free, unlimited source of energy hanging right there above your head. So use it. A portable solar panel in the 20 to 60 watt range can fully charge a 20,000 milliamp hour power bank in about 4 to 6 hours of direct sunlight. And once that bank is charged, it powers your phones, your emergency radio, your fan, and any other USB device straight through the night. Then the next morning, the sun comes up, and you charge the bank all over again. This cycle keeps your critical electronics running indefinitely, for as long as the sun keeps rising, which in the middle of summer is about as close to a guarantee as you'll ever get. And the entry point is more affordable than you'd think. Panels that genuinely work, not toys, start around $40 to $60. For that price, you're buying a renewable power supply that doesn't run out of fuel, doesn't make noise, and doesn't pump out fumes like a generator does. In a summer blackout specifically, a solar panel might be the single smartest piece of gear you can own, because the conditions causing your emergency are the exact conditions that make it work best. If you've got a bit more room in your budget, consider stepping up to a portable power station, sometimes called a solar generator, paired with a panel. These are bigger battery units that can run a small fan, charge multiple devices, even keep a CPAP machine or a small medical device going through the night, and then recharge from the sun during the day. They run from a couple $100s up to quite a bit more depending on capacity. So they're a bigger commitment, but for households with real medical needs, they can be a genuine game changer. You don't need one to survive. But if anyone in your home depends on powered medical equipment, it moves from luxury to necessity fast. Whatever solar setup you go with, practice with it before the emergency. Set the panel out on a sunny afternoon, plug in your power bank, and confirm with your own eyes that it actually charges at a useful rate. Learn how the sun's angle affects it. Figure out the best south-facing spot in your yard or on your balcony. Understand how long a full charge actually takes in real conditions. Solar gear that you've never tested is a gamble, And an emergency is the worst possible time to discover your panel underperforms or you're missing a cable. Know your equipment cold, so that when the grid dies and the sun is blazing, you flip from helpless to self-sufficient without missing a beat. Bonus item 2. Water filtration. I want you to think of this one as insurance, pure and simple. Disasters have a stubborn habit of lasting longer than anyone first predicted. The outage that was supposed to be fixed in 2 days drags into 5. Your carefully calculated water supply that was going to be plenty suddenly looks a little thin. And that's where filtration saves you. A filtered water bottle with a built-in filtration element costs around $20, removes 99.9% of bacteria, along with a lot of other contaminants, and works in the simplest way imaginable. You just drink through it. That's it. It turns questionable water from a tap, a stream, a rain barrel, or any other source into something safe to drink. You don't have to be an expert. You don't have to boil anything and add heat to your house. You just sip, and the filter does the work. The way I look at it, you hope and plan for your stored water to be enough. But filtration makes absolutely sure it doesn't have to be. It's the safety net under your water supply, and for $20, there's no reason to skip it. Grab a couple, toss them in the kit, and sleep a little easier knowing that even if everything runs long, you won't be choosing between dehydration and drinking something dangerous. Bonus item 3. A written heat emergency action plan. This last one costs nothing. $0. It takes maybe an hour to put together. And it might be the most important item on this entire list, because it's the thing that ties every single other item together into something your household can actually pull off under stress, exhaustion, and the kind of foggy thinking that heat and sleep deprivation create. Here's what to do. Sit down and write out exactly what your household does at each stage of an emergency. Who's responsible for which jobs? Where is every supply stored so nobody's tearing the house apart looking for the radio? At what indoor temperature does everyone move to the designated cool room? At what point do you make the call to leave entirely? Who do you call first? Where exactly do you go? Spell all of it out, in plain language, on paper. Then, and this is the crucial part, go over the whole plan with every adult in your household before summer even arrives. Because here's the hard truth. A plan that only exists in your head completely falls apart the moment heat and stress start scrambling your judgment. And they will. Under those conditions, nobody thinks clearly. But a plan written down on paper, a plan that your entire family already knows and has talked through, that plan still works when you need it most. It's the difference between a household that executes calmly and a household that descends into panicked chaos. Write it down. Post it somewhere visible. It's free, and it makes everything else you've bought actually usable. Putting it all together, so there it is. 20 items total, the full 17 from the Red Cross, plus my own additions, and those 3 bonus pieces. Let me run it back quickly so it sticks. Water, adjusted upward for summer heat. Electrolytes, battery-powered fans. No cook food. A serious cooler with a real ice strategy. An emergency radio. Layered lighting. Organized batteries. A heat-specific first aid kit. Medication continuity. Sanitation supplies. Important documents. Cash and small bills. A complete charging setup. A printed contact list. Physical maps. A full cooling plan. Plus a manual can opener, sun protection, tools and duct tape, comfort items and backup keys. And then solar panels, water filtration, and the written action plan that makes all of it actually executable when it counts. Here's the genuinely good news in all of this. The vast majority of what we covered today is affordable. A lot of these items cost less than a single dinner out for the family, and every single thing you add moves your household one concrete step closer to being truly ready for whatever this summer throws at you. This isn't about fear, it's about quiet confidence. It's about knowing that when the lights go out and your neighbors are scrambling, you and your family will be calm, prepared, and safe. Let me leave you with a way to actually get this done, because knowing the list and acting on it are 2 completely different things. Start with the cheapest, most critical stuff this week: water and electrolytes and sanitation, the foundation. Next week, grab the lighting and the batteries and the radio. The week after, work on the cooler and the food. Spread it out, let it land easy on your budget, and within a month or two, you'll look up and realize you've quietly built a complete setup without ever feeling the pinch. That's the secret nobody tells you. Preparation isn't a single dramatic shopping trip. It's a handful of small, boring, easy decisions made consistently over a little stretch of time. And once you've built it, don't just shove it in a closet and forget it exists. Twice a year, around those same clock changes we talked about, pull everything out and check it. Rotate the food and water, test the batteries and the radio, top off the power bank, make sure the medications aren't expired, and walk through your written plan with the family again. A kit that sits untouched for 3 years is half rotten when you finally need it. A kit you maintain is one you can actually trust. Treat it like the insurance policy it is. A little upkeep keeps it ready for the day everything goes dark. Talk to the people around you too. Check on your elderly neighbors, the ones living alone, the families with new babies, the folks you know don't have the means or the know-how to prepare. A summer blackout is a community event, and the neighborhoods that look out for each other come through it in far better shape than the ones where everybody hunkers down alone. Sharing what you learned today might be the thing that saves someone down the street who never saw it coming. Preparedness spreads, and a prepared community is stronger than any single prepared household. You do not have to build the perfect kit overnight. Nobody does. You just have to start, and then keep going. Pick one item this week, pick another next week. Build it steadily, piece by piece, and before you know it, you'll have a complete setup that took barely any strain to assemble. But please, get it done before the next forecast, not during it. Because the brutal reality is this: by the time the power cuts out and the temperature inside your home is already climbing, your window to prepare has already slammed shut. The time to act is right now, while everything's fine, while the stores are stocked, and while you've got the luxury of doing this calmly. So start somewhere, build consistently, and get yourself ready before you need to be. If this video helped you out, do me one last favor, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel so you catch everything I put out, and drop a comment telling me which item surprised you the most or which one you're grabbing first. I read them all, and it genuinely helps me keep making this stuff. Stay safe out there, take care of your families, and I'll see you in the next one.